Hi and welcome back to Darvanalee Designs Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reed and today we're here for another great sewing tutorial. Today we're making another cozy, but this time we're making it for our ice cream tub, but you can also use these for noodles in a cup. So let's get started. Alright, so today we are here to make as I said, an ice cream cozy. So you're going to need a few things today. You want to grab your general sewing supplies, so rotary cutters, rulers, all that sort of stuff. You want to have some wonder clips because it's a lot easier to use those. You're also going to need an iron and an ironing pad and a working sewing machine with matching thread to your project. Now, these aren't for the microwave at all, okay? But I will say, if you think that anybody in your family is going to put these into the microwave by accident, then I suggest that you actually make everything with 100% cotton, and I have gone over this in all of my cozy tutorials. So you can find that playlist linked up the top here, sorry, and you will also find it down in the show notes as well. I have a list called the cozy list and I am adding lots of different things to it. All right, so let's get into it. What are you going to need today? You are going to need a couple of pieces of fabric for your exterior and for your lining. I have this wonderful dots that I've had forever and a day, and it's a little bit ombre as well, so it's a little bit different fabric. I've pulled out my favorite colors in readiness for Halloween. I've pulled out purple and green. I love that color combination, so because this is for me. And basically we need to cut these are 10-inch squares, so we also need to cut our batting at 10 inches as well. Now, like what we do with our cozies, we are going to just draw a line with our friction pen from corner to corner, going in both directions on both pieces, and then we're going to stitch them down. So let's head over there and we'll be back in a sec. Okay, so get rid of all your long threads and remove your pins. Okay, give that a bit of a press. Get rid of any wrinkles that you might have in there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to create our darts, and to do that we do like we do with our bowl cozies. We're going to fold them in half, and what we do to one we do to the other. We're going to get a couple of wonder clips and pop them on there. We're going to get our little ruler here, and on our folded side we're going to come down 2 3/4. Okay, grab our friction pen and we're just going to put a mark in there. And then on this side, we're going to go up on our raw edge, we're going to go up 2 inches. And then we're going to join that line. And then we're going to do exactly the same for our other piece and to our other side. So again, 2 3/4. And then when we head over to the sewing machine, just like we've done with our bowl cozies, we're going to stitch on that line, and we're going to back stitch at the beginning and at the end. And when you fold your fabric, just make sure that you've got no creases or puckers happening in that fold there, because we don't want that to happen. Okay, so let's head over to the sewing machine and stitch that down. Remember to back stitch at the beginning and at the end. Okay, so we've done that. Now what you want to do is grab your pinking shears and then just getting close to that stitching. Take a little bit off, about 1/4 inch. You can eyeball that. It doesn't have to be 100% accurate. It's easy if you use your pinking shears because you can actually get close without going into them, and it gives you a really nice even cut line. Alternatively, you can draw a line on there if you feel more comfortable to do that, and that will help you not go too close to your lines of stitching. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to turn it like we do with our bowl cozies. Everything is pretty much the same. The only thing I do a little bit different here is I will just make sure that my darts are lining up, and I'll just put a wonder clip there and hold it there because it'll just make it a little bit easier for me to handle. And as I've said, what we do to one, we do to the other. And I make sure that my raw edges are all lining up on the side as well. And then I'm just going to get my ruler, and again, we're going to make that measurement of 2 3/4 by 2 inches. So on the fold is the 2 3/4, and then the 2 inches is up on our raw edge. Then we are going to draw that line from point to point, and we're going to do exactly the same on the opposite side, and then for our other piece as well, making sure that we've got no creases or puckering of fabric in there when we've folded that in half. Okay, so now that we've done that, we'll head over to the sewing machine, and don't forget, backstitch at the beginning and at the end. Okay, so once you've done that, we're going to again snip off our little triangles here. Remove our wonder clips. Get rid of any long threads that you might have. All right, so once we've taken off all our snips, all our threads, and we've pinked all our sides, you can see there that we're starting to get like a little basket, really. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn one in the right way, and we're going to have one inside out. And the next step is to actually just pop them into one another, and we want to line up our darts. So everything needs to line up really well. Okay, so you just get those seams just there, and you just pinch them together, and they'll nest together really well. And then just pop a wonder clip on each one of those. Push it down, make sure it's all lining up, all your raw edges are lining up and everything as well. Around that until you get it right. Okay, so now that we've got this all happening here, what I like to do is pop a wonder clip onto each of my points as well. And that's going to help me hold everything in place, not have anything shift or anything like that. And the next step is we are going to top stitch. So this is exactly the same as what we've done with our bowl cozies in the past. Okay, we're just going to go all the way around, but we do need to leave an opening. So on one of my flat sides, and it is a little bit tight, it will be a little bit tight to pull through. Okay, on one of my flat sides, I'm going to pop a pin about 1/4 of an inch, half an inch away from my point, because we don't want to start on a point and have it turning on a point. So we want to start just about here, and then we will backstitch here, come to the corner about 1/4 of an inch away, and pivot and come down. And the same as when we get back to this end here, we want to come in about half an inch. Okay, 1/4 of an inch will be okay too, but I like to come about half an inch, because what will happen is we won't have to worry about that dart, because that dart will be secured, and we won't have to worry about trying to line that up in the closing. Now, as I said, it is a small hole that we're going to be turning through, so it might take a little bit of time, but I'm positive that you can do it. Okay, so again, pop a pin about half an inch away from that dart. Okay, and that is where we're going to start at the top here near our point, and we're going to finish near our dart. So all we're going to do is go all the way around to close it all up. Then we'll come back and we'll pink our edges, and then we'll top stitch it closed. Okay, so we've now got that all stitched. Okay, and get rid of any long threads that might get in the way. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take our pinking shears, and we're going to clip all our corners and all our edges to reduce some of that bulk to make it easier to top stitch through. Okay, just remember, the side that we've left open, we're not going to do any pinking on that, because we're going to need that extra bit to push it through. It'll all still work out really nicely. So just take your time, and without going into your stitching, make sure that you pink. Okay, that corner though, I will just take a little bit off that corner. Okay, we've only got half an inch to work with, so it doesn't matter if that little bit's in there, that's fine. But we just want to take it nice and slow and take off our excess bulk. You won't have a lot to take off. This will help our little points come out nicely as well. So you can see there, I'm not going into my stitching at all, and I'm just taking that little bit of extra bulk out. I would have to say that my pinking shears are my favourite tool for helping me finish products that I make for the shop and everything like that. All right, so double check that you've got no threads that are going to be in the way or anything like that. And then all we're going to do now is we're going to turn it through. So as I said, it is going to be a little bit tight, but if you just put your index finger in and your thumb and go to the furthest corner away, and then just push that lining through, and then you can just slowly but surely bring that around. And then as you're turning it, as you're pulling it through, just give it a little bit of a twist, so you're grabbing different parts of your fabric. Okay, and you can see there that that makes it super easy to get it all to turn out. So it is a small hole and it can be a bit tricky, and especially if you've got a little bit of arthritis or something like that, it might be a little bit trickier for you. But just put your index finger in and pinch it and pull that lining out first, and then give it a bit of a tug and it'll come out, and as you're turning it, grab different parts of the fabric. That's my best tip I can give you for getting things to turn out. All right, the next thing we want to do is we want to get all our little corners to point out. So you can see there where we've got our opening, because we didn't start on that point there, we've got a beautiful corner that has popped out there. So that is exactly what we want to have on our little corners. And by pinking them and taking that excess out, it also helps as well. Now, if you've got a pesky little corner that won't poke out, grab yourself a chopstick, or my favorite tool, which is, oh, there it is a scrapbooking creaser. So you crease the paper with it. I find this really good to poke my corners out. I can get in there and it's firm and it's not sharp as well, which makes it a lot nicer to work with. So you do not want to push too hard into your corners because you don't want to poke through, especially if you're using something that's a little bit sharper, like the end of a pen can poke through. I've done that a few times myself. Okay, and you just gently manipulate that. And if you've got a rounded edge, you can just roll it and it'll help it come together. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to push that in. Okay, and make sure that everything is sitting nice and flat. Again, we're going to roll our seams and then we're going to give it a really good press before we head over to top stitch it down. Okay, so grab your iron and your ironing pad and bring that in. Okay, get rid of any threads. Make sure that all your fabric is sitting down nice into the base. Okay. And like I do in all my videos, I like to roll my seams, and that is just basically getting those seams and those darts between your fingers and getting them to roll, and they'll just sit nicely for you. Okay. And then before we go and do any top stitching at all, we're going to give it a really good press, and this is going to give us a really nice finish. Okay, and just with the tip of our iron, we're just going to pop that in, and each side, you can see there that that's giving us a nice crisp seam that we'll be able to stitch. And then we'll do all of the points, and then we'll go back around and do all of the darts and get them to lay a little bit flatter as well. And it's just going to make it a nice and easy sew for you when it comes to top stitching it. Okay, so we've come to our opening and we've got to do a little bit of fiddling there, but we'll keep going with our darts and everything. You can see there that everything is lying nice and flat, and now I'm pressing my darts. Okay, again, that is nice and flat. Now, another tip that I can give you as well, if you're having trouble with your seams or your fabrics not sitting nice and flush after you've pressed them, you can actually just pop your wonder clips on while it's still a bit warm, or you can use a clapper, and that will help as well. And that'll just help everything hold in place for you. Okay. Another tip I can give you as well is if you're finding that it's still not laying flat for you, get your poking tool and just run it along those seams. Okay, and just push those seams out all the way around. Mine, for the most part, are sitting, but if you get in there and you just run it along those seams, they'll sit nicely for you. But ironing, pressing your project will give you a beautiful finish every time. All right, so we're here to turn our sides in. So as you can see, I'm just putting my fingers in and I'm just going to roll that onto one another so it looks like my other seams. And then I'm just going to put my wonder clips. You can use pins as well, but I'm just going to put my wonder clips and to hold it in place. And then I'm going to actually press it as well. And that will help everything hold in place. You can see there that I've got that all in place, but I'm just going to pop these two off and give it a really good press so it's sitting nice and flush. And then I'll pop those wonder clips on, and that's going to hold really well for me. Okay, and then I'm going to do exactly the same down in this dart. And get that to hold nicely as well. Pop any threads that might be in the way, get rid of those. All right, so when we head over to the sewing machine, we're going to top stitch down. Now, we don't want to start where our opening is. We want to start on a straight edge and close to our dart. So I'm going to start down here, about 1/2 inch away from my dart. I'm not going to backstitch at the beginning, but I will backstitch at the end because my machine tends to make little bird's nests if I do a backstitch at the beginning. So I just avoid that. And when I come back to my starting point, what I will actually do is I will stitch 1 or 2 stitches over the thread that's already there, and then I will do my backstitch. And I know that then it's going to be nice and secure. So let's head over to the sewing machine and stitch that down. Okay, so that is our little ice cream cozy. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed the tutorial on how to make an ice cream cozy. Perfect for those noodles that are in a cup as well. If you like this video today, don't forget to give me a thumbs up down below. And if you're a returning viewer or a new viewer and you've made it this far, obviously you like what you see. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it. And then that way you're not going to miss out on any future crafty uploads. But that's it from me today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Get lots of crafting in, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now.